All I asked was for a win yesterday. That was it. For them to blow out the Baltimore Orioles the way the Guardians did yesterday, man, what a game that was to get things started off for a huge weekend series against Baltimore. They start the guy they traded for. We smoked him. I let him battle a little bit there, but the long balls are back, and I loved seeing that from the Guardians yesterday. I think to maybe even take a little weight off of their shoulders. I know what this series was all about. I think they had a feeling of that too. I really do think that the Guardians had a sense of what this series was about to be for them against the Baltimore Orioles. And the fact that you're right, they're behind you, right in the AL. They're right there. You are now 3-1 against them this year. You either win tonight or tomorrow or Sunday. You split the series. You get the tiebreaker against them. And I saw a hungry baseball team yesterday. I saw a team that stepped up in a series when they needed it the most. I know we still got the weekend to go, but man, what a win from the Guards yesterday. So we got to talk about them as we get started. Big news with the Browns. The city puts their first proposal out for the stadium stuff. And again, it's going to be this conversation over and over again. The Browns have a couple weeks to respond. I fully expect them to go not good enough. Pat McGuire's in this morning. Pat, little life lesson for you. You don't ever make the first offer in a negotiation. It's one of those things. You don't ever make the first offer in a negotiation. Now, somebody has to, and the city of Cleveland did. Was that offer good enough? The wheels are turning on that. We got plenty of Browns to get into this morning. They wrap up out at the Greenbrier before they come on back. Jack Duffin going to join us at 9:30 this morning. OBR, capologist. Boy, do I have some questions for Jack about everything with the Browns contract situation, his thoughts on the Cooper deal. Miles needs one, the Deshaun Watson restructure, and plenty of that. And we got to talk quarterbacks this morning. AFC North. CBS Sports did their roundup on the AFC, the toughest division in football, and Zach Perales. All four quarterbacks in this division facing crucial seasons. We know of the Browns. We know why. But we'll take a deep dive in the rest of the AFC North. We'll take a look around that this morning. We'll get to the grid. We got the bracket. We got time up. We got the morning update. It's a beautiful SummerSlam Friday right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Pat McGuire. Happy to have you this morning, Pat, with us.
Back in studio.
Back in studio with us. You can always follow on Twitter X at Matt Fontana Show, Twitch, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Matt Fontana Show. Plenty of guards. I would say that they SummerSlammed the Orioles. You a big wressling guy, Pat? Not really.
Nah, not me, man.
Not really. It's like one of those things that's here, and like I didn't even know they had Raw tonight. Good no, because I'm like, stay away from downtown. I'm sure it's gonna be busy. It's one of those things. I'm not a wrestling fan. I watched it when I was a kid, like everybody. But I appreciate that there are people that really love it and care a lot about it and all that kind of stuff. So listen, I just put it this way: we have a big event in Cleveland. I hope we show out. I hope the weather holds out too. Like, there's supposed to be thunderstorms. Obviously, tonight it really doesn't matter, but I'm sure they're setting up. I drive past the stadium every day. They got the big signs up. So I really hope we have a beautiful weekend. I hope it goes really well. If there's people in town from out of town, enjoy our city. You need recommendations, you let us know. Like, Pat, you're a lifelong Clevelander. When people come from out of town, what do they do? They go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Like, that's it. What else would you tell them they have to go do?
Oh, man. I mean, Ohio City has come up so much.
That's probably my answer,
that's the
too.
area, Tremont.
Yeah.
Too,
Tremont would be great. Go get some pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Edison's. All the great bars down 25th for sure. Like, that's the hard thing is, not the hard thing, but like people they'll go to East 4th, and I think they'll have a lot of fun on East 4th. But everybody's just going to go to the Rock and Roll Hall. Maybe the Science Center, too. It's right by the stadium, so I'm sure there's a lot of people over there. But if you're in town for it, we appreciate you coming. Hopefully it's a great weekend for everybody over there at SummerSlam. And I do know, there's a ton of Clevelanders that are going to it as well, which is going to be a lot of fun. So, again, hoping for the best this weekend. Hope for beautiful weather and everybody to enjoy the wrestling. I enjoyed the butt whooping the Guardians put on the Orioles last night. And, that game, obviously you got out. Like, that first inning where I'm like, oh, crap. They get out to a lead. They got one on Lively there. But the fact that you turned it right around in the bottom of the first. Quan, Ramirez, they get on. Dude, Lane Thomas, man. 4 batted balls, over 100 exit velocity. That guy can rake, man. Love him in the 2-hole. And that game yesterday is kind of, it beckons back to a Guardians team. Like when the Guardians were really humming, man, they were hitting home runs, which is so different than how we had been doing it in the past. He was always pitching and kind of small ball. And everybody was talking wind tunnel, and everybody was wondering how we were hitting all these home runs. Well, yesterday, I'm going to jump in. I feel like that was a little turn for the Guardians back to how they were playing really well back in May, a little bit of June, and July was a bad month. Maybe that was just it. We just had to turn the calendar into August and get out of July. July was not a great month for the Guardians, but still, I think they went about 500. You're still the best team in the American League. But last night's game, I was just happy to see the bats get a little bit hot. And now you carry those over tonight, and I'm not wishing this away because it is Carlos Carrasco, but like, all right, you got your win last night. You try to get the bats going again tonight, and we'll get to our wages later. Hit a nice little parlay, baby. Let's go. Gunnar Henderson's just easy on the hits. Lane Thomas seems to be a must-have, and I took here's the one I hit, Pat. I know people don't care about my bets, but it just tells you when we say things here on the show, we kind of know what we're talking about. I had Lively Alt 4 strikeouts, and I think he finished with 4, so good on that. Hit for Gunnar Henderson, hit for Lane Thomas, Guardians money line. And I bet on Bet 365, so if they ever go up by 5, you automatically win. I love that.
I love that.
In basketball, they go up by 20, you automatically win. Baseball, they go up by 5, they automatically win. Hockey, they go up by 3, you automatically win.
I think soccer is 2 as well.
Soccer's 2, and then I think football is 21 or 20 or something like that. So, like, even if there's a historic Chargers level collapse, you still cash. You know what I mean? So I love it. So it was a great night last night. We'll turn our attention tonight a little bit later. You already got off to a good start, and I think again, send that message. You didn't have to use Clase or Gaddis last night. Dude, Cade Smith is filthy. Every time he pitches, I'm just like, whoa. He throws 98, but he's just inside with it. And the other thing I loved about the Guardians, too, was not Bo's and Jose's home run about the same. Like, inside part of the plate, they just turned those hands and hammered it. I don't know if Bo Naylor's home runs landed yet. He smoked that thing, but you got the bats rolling last night, which was great to see. I love it. You get back after it, again tonight, which, again, I look at it and I say, you sent a message to the Orioles, and it's August. There's still plenty of baseball to go. But I'm just talking about the rest of this weekend. And I would imagine that, it's going to be pretty full. Ryan was looking at tickets the other day. He couldn't find tickets for tonight. I think they're going to be a hard one to get. There'll be people over at Raw. It's going to be alive. I just love when downtown is alive. Just please, God, let the weather hold out. Please don't let it rain tonight. Get the rain in now. It's like overcast right now. Just get the rain in now and be done with it.
I'll tell you what, last Thursday, that day game, the 110er, I was walking downtown with my friends to the game, and downtown was alive. I haven't seen it like that. I mean, I'm 28. I haven't seen downtown like that since probably 2016. And it's just unbelievable. This team brings it out of them for a day game on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And it was a lot of fun to see exactly how it played out, with the Guardians. And again, I think there's an element of them, capturing the fans. Like, I want them to be able to get these fans to come back down to the ballpark to say, we had a great time. And that helps. I know attendance is always kind of a big thing with the Guardians, but they're doing a great job on that and winning when it counts. We got a lot of Browns to talk to this morning. Is Jack there? Jack ready to go?
Yes, sir. Jack's
all right, we'll get to Jack in a second. I want to talk a lot with Jack this morning. Jack Duffin's going to join us, OBR. We'll get to all the stadium contract stuff. With the city making that first offer, it's like, this is kind of a weird question, Pat. Have you ever sold anything on Craigslist?
I have.
Okay. So there's like an old cheat sheet when people, it's a joke, right? When people put in there, no low ball offers, what they're really saying is, I'll take a low ball offer. What it means, no games, or it's all these,
or best offer.
Or best offer. That means somebody make me an offer and I'll take it. This first one, I look at it and I say, okay, the city had to do something. The Haslams or the city had to do something. They did that. The first offer, do you come out with your best? And we're talking about billions of dollars being at play here. And the first best offer, they're going to have to work through this. I have a lot of thoughts on it. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we got to turn things over to Jack Duffin, OBR, joining us. You can always follow him on Twitter, @Jack Duffin, Browns cap roster building for the OBR. Jack, thousands questions for you. Without revealing too much, I just want to say congratulations on everything. Big life event there for Jack, so we appreciate you coming on with us to talk everything cap. Jack, we got to start with Amari Cooper. We haven't talked to you since. And, you and I were discussing this a little bit. I was floored. I was absolutely floored, Jack, when they didn't get any extra years to Amari Cooper. And I just assumed that Cooper, at his point of his career, with his age, he was going to fight for not just the more guaranteed money, which he got, but to fight for more years and want a little bit more security for the next couple of seasons. Jack, just your thoughts and maybe any surprise that you had with the restructure of Amari Cooper. Oh, Jack there? He was.
We'll get to Jack here in a second.
We'll get to him in a second.
We'll connect to him right now.
All right, that's all good. We are early, so that's what I was wondering. When I saw Jack click in, I was like, I don't want to waste his time. He's a busy man, but if he's just hanging out to watch the show, it's all good. We'll get to Jack here in a second. Because when you talked about the Cooper deal, and I thought that was a real win for the Browns. And I get that and again, while we're having Jack on, they're going to start counting all these pennies. They're going to have to start counting dollars. What happens with the Watson restructure, all that kind of stuff. And that's where to not have to tie up a lot of future money, I think was a real win for them. And I want Amari Cooper here. I think this is such a balancing act that Andrew Berry is doing right now because he's a legacy player. He's an important player to your team, but also he's 30 and there's a lot of factors at play here where they gave that money to Jerry Jeudy. I also thought about that. In essence, the Browns have signaled, yeah, we're going with Jerry Jeudy on this. We're going to turn over to him in a little bit. And that's going to be the tough thing. He can't hear us, is what he's saying. Oh, you got us? Jack?
I'm in.
All right, Jack Duffin joining us. I really appreciate it, man. Sorry about that. And I did want to say, I don't know if you heard earlier, I just want to say congratulations. No big announcement there, but congrats on everything, man. So I was talking about the Amari Cooper deal, and you and I went back and forth on this. I was so shocked they didn't get any extra years for him, or that he didn't push hard to get the extra years. Just, Jack, your thoughts on the Cooper deal and maybe any surprises that you had in the restructure that he got.
Yeah, so I thought he would manage to get something, and I thought there could be a route where the question was he willing to go nearer the Mike Evans deal, which was just north of 20, or is his eyes nearer the Jefferson and the big deals where he's going, hey, I want to be getting the big money like the younger guys. And I think that potentially was a challenge, but effectively what happened is the guarantees, whatever, it was going to be fully guaranteed week 1 of the season anyway, as what happens with veteran deals. It just helped the Browns being able to restructure it and push the money out to future years. And then from speaking to sites like Over the Cap, they're saying they don't think any of these $5 million of incentives was things he achieved last year. So if anything, is he realistically going to earn that? Probably not. So it's more to save face, I believe, with the agent, that the agent's gone in strong and thought, hey, I'm going to push Andrew Berry and get all this out of him. I don't think he's achieved anything. And this $5 million it was a nice talking piece for him to try and attract other clients as an agent, but it doesn't seem like he's actually going to get any of that money in Amari's pocket. So we'll see at the end of this season. And it's just going to be a question if Jerry Jeudy looks great, if Cedric Tillman comes on and is looking really strong, do you need to pay Amari Cooper? If suddenly Tillman's struggling, Elijah Moore hasn't looked good, and Judy's okay but not great, hey, let's come to a deal, maybe $25 million a year, and you can keep the pair of them. Why? You've got wide receivers now potentially hitting $35 million. You can easily afford $40 million for wide receiver 1 and 2.
Yeah, I was going to go there next, Jack, to see about all these wide receiver deals that got done. We know the issues they're having down there in Cincinnati with Jamar Chase. Nobody's shedding a tear about that up here. But to see how inflated it became, I wondered if that was maybe smart, again, on the Browns' part, and I think maybe what the Bengals are trying to do to get that to calm down, right? Where we saw Jefferson and A.J. Brown and all these other guys, you mentioned Mike Evans, they all got these deals Do you think that potentially could calm down next year? Just because I don't know any top flight wide receivers that'll be due a huge contract next year. Maybe the teams can save themselves a little bit of cash.
I think the market's just going to keep going up.
Oh, okay.
So I don't see it slowing down too much, but there'll be less hype around it. Once you see CeeDee Lamb get done, once Chase eventually gets done, then, as you said, there's not like the next guy ready to break that mark and go through the top. Maybe Tyreek Hill is trying to get another deal, and that causes issues in Miami. That's their problem, not ours.
Yeah.
And it's one where I think it's seeing that split of the two of like, hey, here's your young up and coming guys. Hey, if you're under 27, you can go shop in this big market. Hey, Amari Cooper, you're 30 now. Let's be honest, you're nearer your Mike Evans, stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. And I think once you get to the end of this year, if you decide Amari Cooper's worth 2 more years, you can negotiate and get that done. And if it's costing you 25 mil rather than 22 and a half, you're probably better waiting until the end of this season and going, hey, we've seen another year of Amari Cooper. He's not slowed down. Everything's still good. We still need him. Let's get this deal done. If it costs you $5 million over the next 2 years, in the grand scheme of it, I would rather know that his body's holding up than you make that early move and then you end up regretting it.
You know, and you mentioned it, Jack Duffin joining us, OBR, capologist, roster building. Check him out on Twitter, at Jack Duffin, must follow for Browns fans. And you mentioned it about Cedric Tillman. You mentioned, even about Jerry Jeudy, and it all kind of comes back to Deshaun Watson. If he's playing to the level that you expect him to, then Amari Cooper becomes that much more important, and they need to see exactly how this season goes. We get to Watson, and we've had a discussion all off season about how they're going to handle that money and what they're going to do. Best guess, obviously at this point, Jack, would you rule out, are we too close to the season with the restructure? And do the Browns, because tell me this, because I check all the websites, 1,000 times more than I do. I saw some that said the Browns had like $20 million in cap space for this season coming up to use, again, if they need to sign an extension, add a little bit of money. Is that right? Is that figure kind of close? And do you think we're just too late in the offseason to restructure Watson, or do you think there's still time if they need to do that?
Yeah, so we're at 29.6 at the moment. I still think Watson will get restructured. Until they enter the field of play, week 1 of the season, I will believe it's still happening. And I don't think it happens while they're at the Greenbrier or anything. I think once they're back in Berea, I think that's the point where agent flies in, signs, it all gets done. And we see from last year, there was about 4 players got restructured in August. Mm-hmm. So August is perfectly in play. And the reason why you do that, you don't change anything with the Watson situation other than you add more flexibility in 2025 and 2026. And that's all the point of the restructure and what they're doing. So, by all means, go crazy, restructure everyone. In terms of contracts, you've literally got Watson left. And then the next most sort of base salary after that is Jack Conklin at $4.5 million. So you're going from 46 mil down to 4.5 with Conklin, and then after that it's Greg Newsome at 2.4. So they've more or less done everyone. Conklin might not get done just because they might keep the option to trade him during the year or work out what they're doing there. Who knows? They could do him once it gets to August and they feel good, but Watson's the last one, and I'm confident it will get done.
So with the Watson money, tell everybody and kind of explain why they would do that, right? Because you talked about the flexibility that's adding some years. Just explain to everybody again, as we're going to get down to the time that it might happen and you think it will happen. Explain to everybody why, because you look. And I know, Jack, there's a lot of great people on Twitter, but they love to say the most expensive offense in the NFL, Cleveland Browns, and the biggest cap hit of any players, Deshaun Watson, it's 60-odd some $million. Explain to everybody exactly why the restructure helps the Browns and what they would be doing with that money.
Yeah, so Watson, regardless of what you do with him, he's going to get paid $46 million this year. That's the cash. That's the key thing of what money is being handed from the team to his bank account. However it gets and lands in his bank account. But
they can go to my bank account too, Jack. I don't, they screw up some routing numbers, account numbers. It is what it is. That's
we can share it.
That's okay. Yeah, that's perfect.
So he's going to get paid that, and what they can do is they can call it base salary. And so what will happen is he will get an 18th of that money through the 18 weeks of the season. Effectively, I think they changed the payment schedule, but effectively he's earning that money for each of the 18 weeks. whatever the equation of that is. Or they can go, actually, we'll call it a signing bonus. And the only thing a signing bonus really changes is how you calculate it on the cap. And so they'll spread it out over 5 years rather than 1 year. And what they're doing is they're going, the salary cap's going up, whatever crazy percentage each year. And a perfect example was this week we saw Wirfs get extended, and his 5-year deal earns like nearly 150 million. Joe Thomas made 110 million in 11 years.
Wow.
That's how much the NFL's changed. And he got the old rookie structure where you paid rookies a lot more than you do now. So what's going to happen is if they restructure him, they're just pushing that number out. And people go, oh, you've got to pay for it in the future. Yes, you pay for it in the future. But if the salary cap's 25% higher in 3 years' time, well, I'd rather pay for it in 3 years' time. The same way, if you were guaranteed that your salary would go up 8% every single year, you would be buying stuff now, and then you know you can put a little bit of money away and you can pay it in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, because you know that money's going up. So what Jimmy Haslam's deep pockets do, go on, Jimmy, is Jimmy's just throwing cash at them going, hey, if you want to spend this extra 50 million a year, do it, because the salary cap's going up. Andrew Berry can then make it work with the cap team that they've got in the building, and they do a phenomenal job. They are weaponizing the salary cap going up and Jimmy's deep pockets. You've got poor teams like the Bengals. We're talking relatively poor. I know he's doing all right. His bank account looks a lot better than mine. But relatively speaking, he can't compete because he needs the money to come into the team to then pay the players. You've got the Raiders are another example of that. These people are rich because they own a football team. They're not rich and they own a football team. And also being cash rich, because can you give the money to the players, put it in, what's the word?
Escrow.
Like you'd lock it. Escrow, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
All of that sort of stuff. So Jimmy's cash rich, Jimmy's spending to win, and he's doing everything within his power to win. And that's great from an owner. That's what you want. Your owner's going the extra mile to see what can be done.
Well, I think it's twofold too, Jack, because Andrew Berry just seems to be better at this, and it's not that I watch a lot of other GMs or keep score or anything like that, but I just wonder where I'm sure a team like the Bengals, which you're so right, like the Bengals' net worth is in part because they own the Bengals. Like somebody explained this to me the earliest way. They go, well, if you say you own a $10,000 car, you don't have $10,000 cash because the car is sitting right there. You'd have to sell the car. The same thing with the Brown family. They own the Bengals. So yes, they have a net worth of whatever, but a big chunk of that is the Bengals, and they can't sell the Bengals. Jimmy and D Haslam have a lot of money thanks to Warren Buffett from that sale moving on. So that's what helps them out. So I always think about that, about how a team, like you said, that's so cash strapped, they need Andrew Berry. Like they would trade and give up a lot to get a guy like Andrew Berry. Because tell everybody, Jack, Berry, he's really good at this. And he's really good at moving these numbers and using the game. Not doing anything illegal. It's all available for teams to do. Just some people are better at manipulating the cap than others. And I would have to say Andrew Berry's got to be one of the best, right?
Oh, yeah, and it'll be the cap team behind him as well going, look, what's possible? How far can I push this? What can I do? And I no doubt Paul DePodesta's arms
sure,
in
yes.
it as well. Because at the end of the day, it's spreadsheet games, it's maths, it's manipulation, it's what you can do within the rules to how far you can push it. You've got teams like the Eagles doing similar stuff, but the Browns have pushed it the furthest in terms of how much they've gotten able to sort of almost weaponize it. And if you look at the Browns last year, most teams, when they lose their starting quarterback during the season, they finish in like the top 5 picks. The reason the Browns didn't is because they've got 50 million extra of talent out there. So it wasn't like Joe Flacco was coming into a team and it's like, hey, I've got to carry these guys by myself. The extra 50 million of talent is guys like, hey, you take out Zadarius Smith and replace him with like a rookie. That's 10 million saved. You've got to go around and find that 50 million. And if the Browns were a normal team with an average league spend and they didn't have that extra 50 million, the team wouldn't not look anywhere near as good. People might not feel the same way about Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry's in a very unique scenario, but he's managed to convince the Haslams to buy into his model, go, this is what I'm going to do. I need your extra money. This is how it's going to work. And they're all working together. And it needs all of them. It doesn't work with just Andrew Berry and no extra money. It doesn't work with all the extra money and you then put John Dorsey in there just trying to blow it all in 1 year. It's like, it is the perfect collection of people.
That's a great point, Jack, because that's a lot of trust to go to an owner and say, yeah, I need you to cut these checks. And I think I certainly give credit to the Haslams because they did that when Andrew Barry was unproven, so to speak, young rookie general manager. And then you obviously give Andrew Barry a lot of credit for taking that and doing the right things with it and even proving the Haslams over and over again, hey, when you cut these checks, I know what I'm doing and I'm not going to screw this up.
No, and it's where people go, oh, just spend an extra 10 mil here. And it's like, you can do that, but then we need to cut 20 million next year because we've gone over what we should be doing and bring that down. And it's why they're super aggressive. But at the same time, like this offseason, they were like, oh, Browns didn't spend much money. And it's like, no, because they've already spent it. So all the contracts they had just keep going up a bit. And it's like, hey, they doled out 17.5 million for Jerry Jeudy. They extended several guys, like Delpit's got an extension, a few other people. It's like, the money's there, and they kept Zadarius Smith around. Normal teams just to be losing guys when they're at that level of spending. But instead, the Browns added a few, but it's just continuing it. And part of this comes back to like the war chest Sashi Brown built back in the day. Like he rolled over the most salary cap that's ever been rolled over in a season at that stage. Then there was all the high picks that were collected. And you think how much like Denzel Ward's important, Myles Garrett's important, that these high picks that you've got guys that are now going to be on that third contract eventually with the Browns. And that comes into the other part of, well, why do the Browns keep drafting these young players, the age guardrails, people like, just give me the old guys. If you start drafting 24-year-olds, 24-year-olds don't get the third contracts in the NFL. You question whether you give them the second one because they're like 28 when you're trying to put them on deal 2. Whereas if you start drafting 21-year-olds, you can give them 4 or 3 contracts and they're still playing at a good level. So it's that extra stuff where suddenly you've got a guy for 3 extra years. And look, the hit rate sucks in the draft, regardless of where you're picking in the age range.
Right.
So you may as well try and draft someone that's going to have a 10-year career than someone that's going to have a 6-year career.
Jack Duffin, OBR, all cap, all Browns roster. Jack, to the next thing for Andrew Barry, seems to be the Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah deal. There's some rumblings, like I saw something that they were talking. They're kind of, maybe just beginning those discussions. Best guess, is it, really what I wanted to ask you, Jack, is it prudent for them to do it now? Like, is there any real incentive for them to try to get this done with either the money they have now or before some of the other restructures? Do you see that maybe playing out another season, franchise tag? Because, like, if I'm Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, you don't turn down contracts usually when they get offered to you. But I would think for him, going into year 2 of Jim Schwartz's defense, I would be sitting there kind of chomping at the bit to say, I think there's even a little more money out there if I go out there and play really well. Now, the other complete flip side is he gets hurt, things go bad, all that kind of stuff. Your best guess, kind of your take on where we stand with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
It's definitely the most unique scenario that they've had because you look at Myles Garrett and you go, hey, he's the best edge, stick him at the top. What's the number? Whereas there isn't another linebacker in the NFL, and might have changed this free agency, but before that is earning over $10 million a year and doesn't consistently play 100% of snaps. So he is one of one at linebacker in that conversation. You've got like some Jermaine Pratts that play similar numbers. They get paid about 7-8 million. And that's the interesting scenario here where JOK has never played 100% of snaps in a game. He has 6 career games where he's played 90% plus. So it's down to that question of like, if you pay him now, are you expecting him next season to play 100% of snaps? Because it could be like the Njoku where they are buying the tail almost of like, we believe he's going to become this guy, because paying David Njoku for what he was a ridiculous overpay. Paying for what David Njoku became a year later, great value. And it's that tough thing where you're paying for the future, and it's like, do they believe he's going to ascend, become this 100% snap guy, and really be the difference in the middle? But if he remains a 75% snap guy, well, he's worth $10 million a year, probably at the high end. And that's that really difficult decision that they're going to have. And that's why I thought this might wait until December, where they go, do we not? Because 10 million is where I set the price. When Delpit got extended, I suddenly thought, if they've given Delpit 12, they'll probably just give JOK 12. I think 14 is where you get into the overpay discussion. And it's that balancing act of where do they move it? And where they've never paid a linebacker before, we've had several years where the 6 linebackers in the room didn't cost more than 10 million. And we're talking about giving 10 million plus to one guy. That money's got to come out of somewhere. Is that coming out of where Zadarius Smith's money is. Is that getting ripped out of, hey, we're only going to pay one of our guards? We don't know where that's going to come from, but it will come from somewhere. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic of where they move the money from.
You mentioned Myles Garrett. Jack, I'm on this thing where he's underpaid. And we know that, you know that, and I almost could make the case that no matter what money they give Myles Garrett, he would still be underpaid. The pressure's got to be there. And again, with as forward-thinking as Andrew Berry is, I would imagine that that's got to be on his mind over the next couple of years. Doesn't need to be right now, but I think eventually another contract's got to come with Myles Garrett. Could you see it being sometime this year, or do you think that's something to approach in the 2025 season?
Yeah, so the reason why I bang the drum, and whether it's Andrew Berry, it's Howie Roseman of the Eagles, pay guys early. So I think it was about a week after Myles Garrett got paid, Joey Bosa got paid. And Joey Bosa got an extra $2 million a year.
Myles had the title as the highest paid defensive player. You're right, Jack. I think for 6 days. He had that title for 6 days before Joey Bosa wiped it out from him.
And that's the thing. If those two deals happen the other way, Myles Garrett gets $2 million extra. And that's that tough dynamic when you're a player of like, do you just strike the deal, get it done, or do you hold out and wait? But that deal's done. He's still got 3 years left. So he's got 2024, 5, and 6. Even though he's reigning Defensive Player of the Year, they should be doing everything they can not to do the deal now.
Okay.
Because the issue is other players can then come up and go, hey, I'm really good. I'm the best at my position. I've got 3 years left. Give me a pay rise. Give me that new deal. Whereas what you can say in a year's time and go, look, we generally only negotiate with players with 1 year left. If you are franchise level, like your Myles Garrett, your whoever it might be, you belong on this next tier. We'll do 2 years. We're never doing deals with guys with 3 years left. It's just not on the table. We don't do that as a team. So I think it's really important they don't do that. Even if it costs them like $1 million a year extra in negotiating, do not lose your leverage of saying, we do not negotiate with players with 3 years left. So I think they let him go this year. Next off season, who knows? It could happen really early, because once the season's wrapped up, they can start negotiating. It's not like a rookie player that's going to wait for the new league year. They might get in there. Who knows? It could be another December sort of deal this year where they say that. But Myles Garrett's team might be like, hey, we'll wait till June, July. This next class of free agency, Micah Parsons, push that deal up a bit, and then we'll slot in at the top of that. So it will definitely happen. But next off season is probably where I would keep an eye on.
Anything else, Jack? Just kind of on the periphery, maybe for the Browns. Like we've discussed, MJ, he still has time, left on his rookie deal, but a guy that seems like you want to pay and keep around here. Anybody else that we haven't brought up or discussed that you've been really kind of keeping your eye on to see maybe what happens with the deal here or there?
What's going to happen at quarterbacks? The cornerback is really interesting, because there's no realistic route where they're going to pay Ward, Emerson, and Newsom.
Right.
And next offseason is the first time they can approach Emerson, because he was drafted. He's got 3 years before he can start negotiating with the team on an extension. So Newsom will then be on, I think it's about 13.3 or whatever it is as a fifth-year option. I think they'll be looking at a trade market for him and going, hey, even if they don't get the pick for a couple of years, they're not worried. And one of the positions of strength that Howie Roseman does it with the Eagles all the time, just give me future picks. Because other GMs know that if they get a future pick, that's the next GM is going to pick that player. Whereas Howie Roseman, Andrew Berry, they're like, hey, I don't mind it 2 years down the line. I'd rather have a year higher and a year down the line, because I'm going to be here to make that pick.
Right, yeah.
Because you've got job security, you're just operating from that position of strength. So it wouldn't surprise me if they trade him in a year's time. Maybe if it's a 2026 fourth-round pick and they go, right, we'll send him off. And then you've got just by luck of this hamstring injury, they can probably use this time, Cameron Mitchell versus Harden that they've drafted, and say, guys, you battle and let's see what you guys have got. And then, hey, we've got a slot under contract, or maybe they like both of them. That's a great position to be in. And you've got 2 young slot corners coming up, and you're saying, look, we're going to get the best out of Greg Newsom this year. We'll flip him for a 4th in 2026 after the season's done. And then we can press on. We'll extend MJ Emerson. Extend Emerson before the trade. That's another cheeky one worth doing, because you hold a position of strength and going, hey, if you're not going to agree a deal, we'll just pay Newsom instead.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
once Emerson agreed, like, Newsom, you're spare. You can go now.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting. And that's, like you said, it's a spoil of riches now where you have multiple players that you'd feel confident paying. The money's got to go around. We just feel so good about Andrew Barry calling all the shots. Jack, I wanted to go a little off the reservation, but a little weird because you were the person I thought to ask this question. So Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones' son, EVP, whatever, with the Dallas Cowboys, and they got a mess, right? Micah and Dak and CeeDee and everybody else that want Jigs, who wants all that money. And Jones came out, was it last weekend or something like that? And he tried to make the pitch to those guys, well, you live in Texas where there's no in-state income tax. So our deal, you should actually be taking a deal because you don't have the tax. And then all of this conversation that's begun about, Mahomes is technically on a deal, to keep the team around and maybe guys should be doing that. Just as you talk to people around the league, how much of a factor is it when you have to go to California where there's an insane amount of taxes versus a deal? And again, there's roster guys that are just happy to have a contract and they'll take it anywhere. But Jack, do you see that with top players that maybe feel like, no, I don't want to go to states where I'm going to be paying 50% in taxes here. I'd rather go to states that don't have that income tax.
Not so much in extensions, but certainly in free agency.
Okay.
Because these players are looking at it and going, well, yeah, I'd like to get paid on paper an extra $1 million a year, but if I'm actually going to lose money, then send me to this other place. So that's definitely going to be a factor with free agents, and the agents are going to make it aware to them because if it's affecting their earnings, they're like, hey, you go the place where I'm going to get more money.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely recommend it. And some other stuff will come up that if you're talking like $500,000 a year between a couple of teams, it's weighing up that, hey, you've got tax implications, but is there winning? Is there sponsorship opportunities? Because you go to the Cowboys, there's more chance to get sponsorship opportunities than, hey, you go to Cincinnati, you're probably going to get less businesses going, hey, can we put your face on something? Skyline Chili. It's one where you've got to play that game and the agents will do their job and that's what they're there for. So definitely a factor. An interesting one just on, I mentioned contracts, Nick Chubb's. So it was May, I think, when I finally got over the cap to send me some details on what the incentives are. And from that moment, as soon as I saw them, I said, Nick Chubb's going to play week 1. And the reason for that is he was originally on $12.2 million he was going to earn this year. And when he signed the deal, he effectively gave like $10 million back to the team and converted to incentives. And you always don't know. With incentives, they're either some are easy to earn, and it can just be like, hey, he plays 100 snaps, he earns all these incentives, and they're doing that just so they move it a year into the future. And you only have to achieve more than you did last season in the incentives, and it's just a cap manipulation, basically. But if he misses the first 4 games, starts the season on the PUP list, realistically, he's probably got a max value of about $5.5 million. And he's gonna look at that and go, why would he sign that as his agent, get him to do that if he thinks he's going to start on that? So I have full confidence that he is going to go week 1. It might not be bell cow Nick Chubb, but I think he's going to be out there playing. Probably as the lead back of a committee, but that's one that I've said since I saw those numbers. I was like, he's expecting to play because he's probably not going to get to 12.2 because there's some of the stuff like all pro in there. But he can be talking about 8, 9, 10 million. Whereas if he's not going, he starts the season on PUP, 5.5 is, he wants to be earning more than that, I'm sure.
That's follow the money. That's Jack. Great stuff there. I love that, man. That's some great insight.
Code. Follow the money.
Follow the money. And that's, again, the agent Nick would probably know better after surgery, after he was coming back, that he would feel pretty confident about that. I love it. Jack, really appreciate you. As always, season's right around the corner. If you don't follow Jack Duffin on Twitter, you're missing out for all the great capology, breakdown stuff at the OBR. Jack, really appreciate you, man, and have a great weekend, all right?
You too. Bye.
There he goes, Jack Duffin. All right. Okay. Interesting stuff. And that's like, I get it. I have 1,000 questions for Jack, but it's like the following the Watson restructure, found the money. But that's quite the little tasty nugget there at the end. And again, I'm not saying that Jack is reporting that Nick Chubb's ready to go week 1, but he said follow the money. And what he's saying is Nick and his agent probably would not have agreed to the restructure that they did if they didn't feel like Nick was going to be ready for week 1. You sprinkle that in, Pat, with he's already running and he's already getting all this other stuff ready to go. Optimism. I like it. And Jack, perfectly put it. I'm not asking him to go out there and run the ball 25 times into the teeth of the Dallas Cowboys defense, but if he's out there, if he could pick up some yard, it's just what that does. And also, I think the importance of like the flow of the rest of the season, because you'll have an idea. You'd like to find out pretty early what you got in Nick Chubb, because I just think I could change everything, man. If he comes back and he looks like a semblance of the old guy, I think that changes a lot about what you're doing the rest of the season. I know they want to ease him back in. I want to ease him back in too. But you got to follow the money on that. So the agent and Nick at least feel like they're going to come back for the start of the season, which is great. Love it. Always appreciate Jack. If you missed anything he had to say, go back, check out the replay on Twitter, X, also up on YouTube, on the Twitch channel as well. All right, we started by talking about the stadium situation. I didn't ask Jack about that money because that's not really capology money, but it's still a lot of money out there. And the big news yesterday was the city of Cleveland sent out their first proposal. And I know there's a lot in this, and shout out to Daryl Ryder. In 92, Daryl did a great job of surmising some of this stuff in the Cleveland.com article. So I go over to the Associated Press, and this is basically what the proposal is boiled on down. For the billion and I think 1.2 billion or whatever it is for the renovation, Cleveland's submission was $461 million from the city. I can do that math, Pat. It's not half. 227 of that would come from a tax increase on tickets, which I know would upset some people, and a 30-year lease, which expires after the 2028 season. The Browns have until August 12th to respond. Then there's other things about the parking, where the Willard Garage and Muni Lot would go over to the Browns to increase. But the thing is, that money, it's not like it's going into their pocket. That's just the money that is gained from the parking would then be used to repay the money that they loan out to fix the stadium and all that kind of stuff. We know Brook Park, it's got to be their option. And the Browns sent out their release yesterday. And I think when you read through some pieces of that release, that is the Browns saying what? We still want to go to Brook Park. So I'm going to piece through this from Dave Jenkins, Haslam Group's chief operating officer. We appreciate the proposal from Mayor Bibb and his administration. As we consistently said through this process, we continue to communicate and collaborate with Cleveland, Brook Park, Cuyahoga County, and the state of Ohio for a long-term solution that creates a world-class experience for our fans and positively impacts Northeast Ohio. We're working diligently to comprehensively examine all options to identify the best path for not only our fans, but the greater Cleveland area and Northeast Ohio. Here's the one from the Browns. Quote, our region deserves to be thought of as evolving, forward-thinking, and innovative. So we need to think boldly and creatively in this process. It's important to reiterate that the goal is to come up with the best experience we can for our fans while creating a long-term, sustainable stadium solution that drives impact that benefits Northeast Ohio, the Cleveland region, the entire state of Ohio. That's not that stadium over there on the lake. Bold, innovative, creative? No. And I've said this, you know where I stand. I want the Browns on the city of Cleveland. I want them in Cleveland proper. I want them downtown. Is Brook Park that far away? No. Do I have serious questions about how they would be able to build up that area? Absolutely. I don't want to hear about lakefront development. Even if they tore that stadium down, Pat, I have no faith that they're going to do anything. What do they do? Put a park? Put something? I got no idea, right? The Browns basically said, yeah, thanks for your offer. That's not good enough. And it's just a start on these negotiations. They're going to take a long time. And yeah, you'd say, okay, 2028 is the drop dead point. Well, you probably need to break ground in 2026 or at least have your plan in place. Well, that's still a year off. You take 8 months to come up with an architect and a designer and all that other kind of stuff. What color seats are you putting in? What are the suites going to look like? Where's the scoreboard going? Like, all that stuff takes a lot of time. And I think at this point, which again, you got to remember that they do everything for a reason. Every little thing that either the city does or the Haslams do, there's a secondary part of it. Pat, why would they do this now? Football's back.
Get the excitement.
They're coming back to Berea. They're coming back this weekend. Why would the city of Cleveland get this proposal out now? Why would they do that the day of the Hall of Fame game down in Canton, where a large contingent of NFL people were there. Do you have the conspiracy theory button over there? It's one of those buttons. Just start hitting buttons over there. The hotkeys. Dude, no, it's like the colored ones on your... No. Yeah, not that. No, not that. Down. Just keep... It's the bottom... the purple one. Try the purple one. No, the other purple one. That one. That one. Turn it on. Can you turn it up a little bit? That. Why would they do that, Pat?
We got there.
Why would they do it? Hit it again for me. Why would they do that? Hit me with the windy. Why would they do that? Everything, it's all optics at this point, and it's a bit of posturing. And me being the idiot that I am, I can read through that. What was that? Here's our proposal, which I would have to tell you, at least maybe I'm hoping, that cannot be the best from the city of Clinton. That can't be. There's no way. So they started with the low ball. So we started talking. You ever sell anything on Craigslist or Facebook? And you always get those low balling sons. Can I tell you a quick story real quick that just drove me up the wall? We were selling an air conditioning unit. It was like an inside air conditioning unit, right? Because we finally put AC in my wife's office. So I get on Facebook, and I think this thing, like retail, this thing was like $400 or something like that. I wasn't selling it for $400. But I was like, oh, so you're not going to get it for $20 off of me. And by the way, I got it for free. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Todd. He just gave it to me. So any money I got was in the bonus. So I messaged these people. They came back to me, and they're like, we'll offer you $95. I said, okay, good. Fair offer. We'll meet you at a gas station around my house. And I said, not a problem. So I haul this thing. It ain't light. Throw it in the back of the car. Go to this gas station. These people pull up. Oh, you actually wanted 95? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I go, what do you mean? They go, well, we only brought 75. Why would you come to buy something from me without the money? They go, well, we can go into the ATM. And then you know what, Pat? They had their kids sitting in the car.
Of course, right?
And it sucked me in. I was like, I don't want these kids to be baking all summer. I go, do you have 80 on you? They go, we think so. They gave me change out of their car. I was like, I'll take 80.
You didn't just hit him with the Venmo?
I didn't even think about that. You know what? Damn it. I didn't even think about it, Pat. Those kids suckered me in. They were sitting in the back seat of the car. It was hot. It was summer. I was like, all right, fine. Just give me what you got. I don't think the whole reason I bring it up, I don't think the city of Cleveland can do that. You know, where they go, hey, we'll agree to this deal. Actually, we only got $461 for it. We said we had $550, but we only got $460. That's no big deal.
Yeah, the Venmo is at Haslam's one.
Could you imagine logging into Venmo and seeing $50 million? Just actually, I don't even know that, and it's kind of maybe sad about. I don't know what is the max amount on Venmo. Unverified accounts have a weekly. So a verified account, you have a weekly transfer limit of $20,000, $19,999. Are you pointing because you have a verified account and you can go and you send $20,000 a week? Okay.
I do not, but I will tell you on the Bobby Carpenter show, one of the best shows we have here, alongside the Matt Fontana show here at Big Play.
Appreciate that.
But they were talking about taking checks to the ATM. They tried to cash. Anthony tried a $50K check. Bobby Carpenter tried $100K. They won't take it in the ATM.
Oh, like when they were playing. Oh, really?
When Serena Williams, I don't know if you saw this. Serena tried to cash like a $1 million.
Oh, I'm sure
check.
they're probably like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
they're on the phone to the IRS before you even hit the drive-through. Like something's up here. What's going on?
Mobile deposit? I don't think so.
I think there's mobile deposit limits of like 20 or something like that too. Yeah, and it is crazy to think about. The money and that's the thing about as they're going through. I never bought into crypto. But I understand where people are talking about crypto because it is just electronic transactions, right? Like, yes, I could go to the bank and pull out cash, but it's all just an electronic thing. And it's crazy. Not that it has anything really to do with the Brown Stadium stuff, but you think about, all right, the parking revenue, that's $94 million that they're going to get. And just how it goes from one place to the other and the finance, because even Jimmy Haslam and Dee Haslam spoke about it at the Greenbrier. How are we going to finance? Because it is crazy to think about this, right? Whatever they do, they still have got to pay these construction companies, these architects, and it might be on finance or escrow. And I would believe the Haslams are good for the money, but they still need backing. I don't know if a lot of people know this, Pat. When a contingent buys a team, Like when the Haslams bought the Cleveland Browns, that's not even just about the Haslams. They have to have a list of people that are willing to come in and back them up if it goes bad, right? We know what's happening with Pilot Flying J and all that stuff. Let's say that they get hit with this massive fine, they lose all their money. NFL doesn't want to hear about it. You have to have a list of people, creditors or co-signers. You got to have co-signers with you to say if you go under, they're going to come back and help you out. All this stuff with the Browns in the city of Cleveland, too. Who are the other co-signers? Who else is going to get involved? And I'm sure there will be sponsorship opportunities, but this, in essence, comes back to the city of Cleveland ponying up the dough. And Mayor Bibb is adamant that they're not going to dip into the general fund of Cleveland. I imagine that giant piggy bank that they keep somewhere in town, in City Hall, and coming in. They don't want to pull money out for that. And I think you get to the county, you get to the state, because whatever they do, those are workers. My dad, 40 plus years in Union 55, the plumbers union. My brother in the plumbers union. My other brother's a carpenter. My other brother does flooring. Those are people that'll get called upon to help our city. Now, the other sad part, what was the other news about the Browns this week that I don't know if anybody saw? They canceled their contract with Aramark. And that was hundreds of people that were janitorial staff, or I don't know about concessions, but they canceled that deal. Now, the good news is they made it sound, at least in the article that I read, these people might be able to apply for jobs with the new service people that are coming in. But that's big money. And that's like, at the end of the day, I know that the city of Cleveland and Mayor Bibb needs to look out for our town. Part of looking out for our town is jobs and keeping people employed for big construction projects, or you look at the Sherwin-Williams building, all that kind of stuff still matters for the city. So on the base level, here I am as a Browns fan bitching because I don't want them to leave Cleveland. And I know Brook Park, Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, it's all the same. They're not going to Baltimore, okay? But there's things about downtown, And I know Emmett Golden, a massive friend of mine, and Emmett was talking a lot about this yesterday too, the impact on Cleveland, right? Do people actually care if you drive in from Seven Hills? You live in Menor. Do you really care about the city of Cleveland? Sure, maybe not. But then the bars, the restaurants, all that other kind of stuff, that their lifeblood are events like this. How many bars do you know, Pat, or can you even just name off the top of your head, that are expecting their summer to be made off tonight and tomorrow? Because there are a massive amount of people here for Raw and SummerSlam. That's because this is downtown. And I get that, okay, well, there will be new business. There's new lifeblood that will be created in Brook Park with bars opening and new hotels. I kind of give the same look that you do. I go, that's a big ask, though, man. And the one thing, again, I'm biased. I want them to stay here. People still come to downtown Cleveland on any given day, right, Pat? My wife and I, we take the kids to Edgewater. We're looking to go out to dinner, right? All right, let's come downtown, all that kind of stuff. Are we really going to drive to Brook Park? No, and I ain't trying to knock Brook Park, man. What will actually be there other than Browns games and the events that they get, which, again, I've always been critical on. They say we'll get all these events, Okay. People have this on, I really think a misnomer on this. Do you really think that stadium's going to be in use every freaking weekend? No. It's going to be closed almost maybe as much as the stadium is now. Why wouldn't you keep it downtown where there are businesses that can still survive? Are you just going to have businesses that open just August to January for the football season? That's it. And then they'll close up shop ever? Well, that rent ain't getting paid, man. How's that going to happen? There's so much of that. And again, I'm not playing this down to act like Mayor Bibb and the Haslams aren't thinking about all this. The Haslams, I want them with the tack that they're doing. What is best for our fans and our football team? What is best for our fans and our football team? But do not forget, they became billionaires by being good business people. What is going to make them money, too? All that comes in, man. And I think my biggest takeaway from yesterday, because the ultimate question is, did anything that came out from the city or the Browns yesterday sway how we think this is going to go? Pat, I don't think anything. These are just preliminary things. This was the first offer from the city of Cleveland. Now, I pray to God it was not their best offer, right? Sometimes you hear that. Come with your best offer. I don't think that's the ploy here in this negotiation. Let's start the ball rolling. And again, sneaky conspiracy. Yeah. You do that on a day that they're down there at the Canton Hall of Fame. You do that when they're getting back here in Greenbrier. Everybody's all drunk on football. City of Cleveland knew what they were doing yesterday. They could have released that today. They could have released that next week. Oh, no. And maybe it's something to do with August 1st. I don't know. Who knows? Read into that. And they're like, for as much as we think the city of Cleveland is kind of powerful, because it seems that way, Pat, that has them do whatever they want. They can take this team and whatever. The other thing is, though, and again, I ain't counting their pennies because it take me a long time here. I don't think the Haslam's want to just foot nor can I think they actually can just foot the bill for $3.5 billion to go build that stadium down. No matter what they get from the city, no matter what bonds they sell to people, hey, they'll do a brick sale. You ever go over to oh my God, in between Progressive Field and Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse?
Oh yeah,
the Gateway.
The Gateway Plaza.
Go look, there's bricks everywhere, right? Or Pat, they sold those for $10 or $100 a piece, and everybody gets their etched brick. We'll go down there. We'll have a brick sale. How about that? Everybody gets a brick. You want to have your name, your family name down there at the new stadium in Brook Park? I'm sure we'll raise a lot of money doing that. The syntax. They want to expend this, up the syntax. Pat, that's like a couple $1 million. That's it. And also divided with the other teams, that's pennies, man. I worry about the rubber hitting the road of where the money's going to come from. I think just me. Here's what I think it is. The Haslams want to go to Brook Park, but they can't pay for the whole thing. The city of Cleveland wants the Browns to stay. They don't have enough money to keep them stay. That's where we're at. So one of two things are going to happen. The Haslams are going to find the money to go to Brook Park. City of Cleveland's going to find the money to keep them in Cleveland. Then the other thing that can't be lost on this, 30 years from 2028, that building is going to fall over. And I don't know what a $1 billion renovation looks like, but I'm assuming that there's even just elements that when they built that stadium, they go, we didn't think this would be up for 40 years. And it goes back to the whole history of the Browns coming back, which, you're a little older than Ryan, Pat, but you remember they slapped that stadium up as fast as they could because they didn't want the NFL to go back on giving us the team. And I'll tell you this, you ever see Baltimore Stadium? I have. Been there. Eerily similar to the Cleveland Browns Stadium, if you really look at it. Same architect. They slapped that stadium up over there to get the team here. And I've said this, and people know the story better than me. The worst thing that ever happened to the Cleveland Browns was Al Lerner dying. Because he was going to take this team where they needed to go, and he was going to redo that stadium. He had the money, he had the people, he had it all. But he didn't, because he passed away. So they left that stadium that was meant to just be a placeholder. And here we are 25 years later, talking about trying to fix it up. Now, I don't know if you can tell by this conversation, I'm not a civil engineer. I'm not an architect. I don't know what that looks like. And maybe it is tangible, because that's another great question in this whole thing. Is this actually, and again, I think the Browns said that in that statement, right, where they're bold, innovative, and a sustainable solution. Is this actually what it is? You, me, and everybody know what the ultimate situation would be. Brand new stadium somewhere in downtown Cleveland. I guess that ain't happening. I'm sure they've looked everywhere. It's not, we are at Burke Lakefront Airport. This is where our studios are. We love Burke. I will tell you every single day if I need to on this show, they cannot touch Burke. This is not going to happen. Burke is unattainable. And also, does it really fix one of the biggest problems? And I thought about this, our Twitter question this morning, Pat. I don't know if you want to post it or not. What is your biggest issue with Cleveland Browns Stadium? Is it parking? Is it, I guess accessibility is kind of the same thing. Is it the look of the stadium? Is it seating, suites? Like, what is the problem? And I think the vast majority of people would tell you accessibility and parking because they shut the roads down. Dude, I already saw this yesterday. And by the way, for Clevelanders, but also going to SummerSlam, Pat, they already sent out we're closing this street at 1 o'clock. Like, you can't get in over here. They tell everybody they got to walk to the stadium. Everybody's pretty much got to walk to the stadium to get there. Me, never had a problem with it. Now, apparently another part of the proposal from Cleveland is that land bridge and whatever they do with Route 2. And I take Route 2 to get to work every day. Blow that freaking thing up. And the railroad tracks, which I know is harder to do than not. Again, amateur architect over here. Put it under. Can't they go down underneath? Build a tunnel. I don't know. The number one issue, in my opinion, with the stadium is not only where it's at, it's that you have Route 2 and those freaking railroad tracks right there. It kills it, man. It kills everything. Figure that out. Then maybe the stadium becomes a little easier to get to. And again, I've never had a problem with it because I would just walk from Muni Lot. It's not that bad of a walk. I would walk from the bars downtown. I never really had an issue. I understand people that do. And you're on an island. You basically are on an island. You can't go north of the stadium. There's a little parking lot. You got the port to the west. What are you going to do? It's just so much. And I guess the biggest thing for me to recap on this whole thing, I don't see much changing. Like outside of, again, here's your first push. Here's the Haslam's response that we'll get in a couple of days, week, whatever it might be. Go back to the drawing table. All right, here's your first offer. Not good enough. What else you got? And then eventually, I mean, I'm going to call my shot here, Pat. You know what I think? Do you know what I think is going to happen?
What you got?
I think the Haslams are going to rebuff this deal. The city of Cleveland will come back with another one. The Haslams will say absolutely not. They will announce they're going to Brook Park. City of Cleveland will come back and get something done. That's my bet. And again, that's me being biased of wanting them to stay here. People think that yesterday lent towards them going to Brook Park. And I really didn't change for me. And I'm going to stay fast and I'm going to hold on to what I've been saying. I don't think they're going to Brook Park. I really don't. I really don't. However that works or whatever needs to happen, I don't know. But at least for right now, you know, and then like that lease that I know is important. I understand that these are binding contracts and things. Bro, they will, again, mark my words, and I hope to still be here doing this on Big Play with you every single morning in 15 years, and I'll tell you I said the same thing. They will break that lease in 15 years. They're going to go somewhere else. Hopefully in downtown. You get what I'm saying? People want to dive in and say, 30 years. I don't think it's really going to be 30 years. I really don't. I think this is something to get you through the intermediate. Now, again, spending $1 billion freaking dollars, a lot of fucking money. I get it. I think they do something now to keep him here, and that just buys you time to figure something else out. And again, I drive Cleveland. I know Cleveland like everybody else out there. I don't know any more than any of you out there that works in downtown Cleveland. You probably know more than I do. How can they not find another spot? How can they not find another spot? I know that's a lot of space over there, and then you talk about the parking. Bro, Lakeside, there are abandoned warehouses all the way down Lakeside when you get down there. What about over there? I mean, just And I know that that's a lot because I'm sure there are some businesses in some of them, but for the city of Cleveland, which again, but that's why I want their involvement to kind of come to these places and go, yeah, there's a giant, and the one I think about is always on the corner of Lakeside, and you go right over the railroad tracks. If you're going down Lakeside, you're going east to get back on the highway over there. You go over the railroad tracks. There is a massive building over there. I used to drive that way every day when we were working in the Galleria. No joke, Pat, drove that street 10 years. Almost every day of my life. I've never once seen anybody in that building. Busted out windows. And it's not that I'm sitting here saying it's an eyesore or things like that. There's a little chunk. What's on the other side of the street? I don't know. To maybe start having the idea of, yeah, maybe we got to knock down 5 blocks worth of stuff to go put our stadium over there. Have they thought of it? I don't know. I want to find that. That is the solution that I want. Can I have that? No, I can't. That sucks. And I hate that. And I'm sure the city of Cleveland and the Browns would say the same thing. The issue is just location. It's not the stadium. I want a new stadium too. I don't actually care about the dome anymore. You want to put a dome on it? I don't care. It's about location for me. And I think with this just going on, Jack, he's watching. He goes, build the dome. He goes, bad weather helps the underdog. We're not underdogs anymore. You know, Jack, if you're still watching, the other thing I said about that, did you hear Andrew Barry's comments about that, Pat? Where they asked AB. And he goes, what do you want? And he goes, personally, I'd like the dome. And I said, of course he would. He's a talent evaluator. That's why they do the combine at Indianapolis. A true talent evaluator like Jack and Andrew Barry, they don't want the elements. They want fast track, man. They want them inside. They want football played that way because it's a truer evaluation of the players that they're looking at. So, of course, a guy that's an NFL general manager, and I get it, too, that there's people that are like the fans, right? And they're like, oh, man, I love the weather and I love the rain. I love the cold, all that kind of stuff. Football teams don't. Players hate that. Coaches hate that. You want to know what? That messes up a game plan. Coaches don't like that. And then when you factor in, again, the Haslam's doing what, man? Get their money, do all that kind of stuff. I get it. And it's just always this back and forth, which yesterday's the first step. I don't know, Pat. Let me ask you. This is also another interesting question. Are you nervous about this thing?
Not particularly.
Okay.
I think going back to the Haslam's thing, I think if you see any headline where Browns move, and then Browns move
right.
at all.
That
I think is a loss for the Haslams.
Yep, that hurts you.
And I think people are very scarred in this town, but I don't think it's going to be a problem moving forward. I think they're committed to this city, which in the end is the thing. But I don't know. Either way, I don't particularly want Brook Park at all. I just don't think.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, you got to develop kind of a whole new city. I was just driving over there, and I mean, it's kind of barren over there.
Dude, the other thing is, let's just say the Super Bowl and again, I want to be fully, is that time, huh? We'll get this time up later. All good. I'm biased, so obviously I'm going to keep ripping apart Brook Park here. The NFL, let's say you get your Super Bowl. They're going to have to take the RT. Like, I joked about Roger Goodell having to get on the red line to come from downtown because the NFL, just like the NBA All-Star Game, which was just here, they have parameters. You have to have X number of flights in and out, domestic and international. You've got to have X number of 5-star hotels, let alone just X number of hotel rooms for fans and things like that. You need restaurants. You need valets. You need rental cars. You need parking. You need all that to get these type of events. And I'm not saying that they couldn't get that with Brook Park, but it ain't that easy just to snap your finger and go, we're just going to build another 5-star hotel. Trust me, I think they need another hotel over there. It's not so simple. Hey, we're going to put all these restaurants in. And it comes back to what? You put them in for a Super Bowl. Are they still open 2 years after that? You really sustain? You want to go get some prime rib at a steakhouse, Pat, before you go over to a Browns game? Some people might. I would imagine not a lot. All things that they got to figure out. The first step, if you can, post that on Twitter. I'm interested. Are you nervous about this Browns situation? Simple yes or no. Let's do this. Let's catch a break. We'll put that up at Matt Fontana Show. Drop us a follow there if you can. We're also up on YouTube at Matt Fontana Show and Twitch. We'll post that. I'm interested. Are you nervous about this whole Browns stadium situation? Simple yes or no. And it's like, you could say yes because you're on pins and needles. Maybe you're a season ticket holder. You don't know where it's going. No, because you don't care. You're open with either. But you could also say yes because you're like, man, I'm nervous. I really want them to go. I really want them to leave. I want them to get down to Brook Park. I'll be interested to see how that comes out. Are you nervous about this whole Brown Stadium situation? I guess it'd probably be good if I cast my vote on that there, Pat. I am. I'm nervous. And it's not...
Nervous in what way?
You know, they're not leaving. I'm still going to root for the Cleveland Browns. And I would tell you this. If they go to Brook Park, my son, my daughter, my wife will be at games there. It's not about I would boycott this or do that, whatever. I'm just nervous, because, again, it's not like it's that big of a deal. They'll figure it out. They're still playing football here. And that's maybe what I need to remind myself. Like, they will forever and always be playing football here. I get that. I guess my nervousness is it's leaning maybe towards the thing that I don't want, And I'm going to be a 5-year-old stubborn little kid and just be like, I don't want that. Eat your broccoli. I don't want that. So maybe that's kind of where it comes from. But it's also like I'm invested. I'm really invested. I'm really interested by this. I'm extremely invested in this whole thing. So remember a little while ago, too, we had that architect, and I think he came on the Reflux show, and he's like, you put a dome on the one downtown. Everybody's like,
he's on the Bruce Drennan show as well.
That's right. He's on Drennan. Everybody's like,
yeah.
I don't know how that quite works. Have they talked to that guy? I don't know.
I don't know. I think the people who argue for the moving the team to Brook Park, I think they say that there's so much nostalgia with this stadium, but I really do think that the location right now for Cleveland Browns Stadium is actually a pretty good one in terms of downtown. But moving to Brook Park, I just don't see that argument of the nostalgia of Browns Stadium. Like we've had since 1999, there hasn't been too much nostalgia, I don't think.
Sure.
I mean,
Well,
people had it more before the team moved at Municipal Stadium.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people still kind of harken back because it's on the lot of the old stadium. I think it's more about the people that, okay, you would lose Muni Lot. How many memories, that, some good and some bad, have been created there at Muni Lot? And the other thing, you know, we're a prideful bunch in this town. And people are also set in their ways. I know people that have had the same season tickets for decades. They go to the same parking lot every Sunday for home games, and that's where they tailgate. Pat, you just unlocked it for me. You want to know why I'm nervous? I hate change. I hate change. And I think it's a human nature to not like, now some people accept it better than others. Still working on some big changes in my life, but that's all right. Like, I hate change. I really do. I like my routine. I like doing what I do. I don't like change. So I know where I park and where I go and how to get in there and all that kind of stuff, the bars we would go to and all that. And I don't go to a ton of games anymore, just with the family. I can't wait, though. My son's 3. I don't think he's ready to go, Pat. I think 5 is maybe when that should start. And that's not
I think 5 you can actually do pretty well. Because then they'll have more memories.
A little memory
to it,
of
I think,
it,
too.
And we wouldn't be in Muni Lot. My dad took me to Muni Lot for my first game. It was a Browns-Steelers game, and oh boy, buddy, did I I watched a Steelers fan get cold clocked from behind. Walking back, we lost. It was the James Harrison William Green fight. That was my first Browns game ever. We're in Dog Pound. Quick story. We're in the Dog Pound, and I had gotten the sense of the rivalry and all that kind of stuff, and people are yelling at Steelers fans and flipping them the bird and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't like 5. I think I was 10 or something like that. And we're sitting in the Dog Pound, upper Dog Pound, and somebody else fight. So my dad and I go, where? And they go, no, they go on the field. And they're scrapping. Then the ref comes out. He throws before they even kick the game off, he throws his flag. And he goes, personal foul, number 31 Cleveland, personal foul, number 55 Pittsburgh. Both players have been ejected. I go, holy God. Walking out of that stadium, man, I seriously, this guy was just walking. I felt somebody brush past me, just boom. My dad just was like, let's get out of here. Let's go. So that's my memory. But like, I think there's an element of change that people don't like. And I think you unlock, Pat, you're a great therapist over there, man. You have unlocked this for me.
I appreciate that. But
we've gone to the
honestly,
next level here.
The trauma that the Browns have caused, I don't know, the cost-benefit analysis there.
Yeah, right, exactly. There is quite a little bit of that. So we're up at Matt Fontana's show. Are you nervous about the Browns Stadium renovation? I said yeah, and I think we uncovered why. I just don't like change. I'll tell you what, we're a little late. You got the morning update? You want to dive right into it? All right, let's do it. Pat's got the morning update with us this morning. The stories you got to know. Hey, real quick. Sorry, that's my fault. Keep going. All right. Keep going. That's my fault. We'll start the morning update, if you don't mind, Pat, by me reminding everybody about our golf outing coming up. That's right. We'll be there. Little Mountain, August 31st. Paige Sporanic will be there. I'll be there. Pat will be there. Ryan will be there. Josh Maria Cribbs, Bobby Carpenter, Drennan. It's going to be so much fun. Here's what you do. Go to bigplay.com. Go to bigplay.com. It's right there on the front of our website. You will get the event page for it. There are limited foursomes left. I don't know how many, but you can get it. Here's what it's going to be. By the way, you a golfer, Pat?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you are? Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
So outings. I love the 1 o'clock outing, man.
Great.
I don't mind getting there at like 7 for a 9 o'clock shotgun. We're at a 1 o'clock shotgun at Little Mountain. Dinner, drinks after, garage beer. It's going to be fun. The other thing, and I want to make this extremely well known, we want to help some charities. So you can go to the Eventbrite page, $1,000 a foursome, which I'm telling you, $250 a person is amazing for Little Mountain and a full outing, which is great. Then they just added this. Ooh, you want to golf with Hanford Dixon?
Absolutely.
Threesome with Hanford, up available, Eventbrite. A twosome with the Williams boys, Greg and Blake Williams. I might have to buy that just so I'm on the tee with my buddy. And I'm just like, Coach, just yell at him. I got a lozenge. How cool would that be with Coach Greg in your foursome? Well, really, it'd be a twosome. You, a buddy, and Greg and Blake Williams.
I'll tell you what, too. At the college college championships event when you guys played the Firestone course South.
Greg and Blake can play a little bit.
They could play a little bit.
They play a little bit.
But more importantly, they're good playing partners.
Oh, yeah, they're fun.
I mean,
yeah.
unbelievable
they're
stuff.
Fun.
The whole event at the college championships was unbelievable, but seeing you guys get to golf together was phenomenal.
It was a lot of fun.
It was fantastic.
So you can get that on the Eventbrite page. And again, there's only one of those. So they're up right now. But the other thing I meant to really bring up, charity activation. So you can do this, and it listed as free on the Eventbrite page because all it really does is gets us your contact information. And if you have a charity you'd like to raise money for, bring your team out for an on-hole activation. We'll supply a prize, and the proceeds for that activation go directly to your charity. That's any charity out there. And I'm thinking about so many of them that are out there. Dog rescues, cancer research. You know what? Gosh darn it, I got to send that over to somebody. A very close family friend of ours. They raised a lot of money for ALS. And that I got to send that to Rita. I do. Because I'd love to have them out there. So again, if you have any charity out there, I just thought of another one. At my son's school, they raised money. Unfortunately, one of the moms passed away from cancer a couple years ago. So every year they do a charity event to raise money. I got to send them this. We want you there. It's free. Free. Again, do you have a charity you'd like to raise money for? Bring your team out for an on-hole activation. We'll supply a prize, and proceeds of that activation go directly to your charity. So again, we'd love to have you come golf. Even if you just want to come for dinner, drinks, and a hangout, that's $60 to get you in there, which is just awesome. Foursomes are available. The twosome with the Williams boys, a threesome with Hanford Dixon to play as your fourth. Hanford could play too. He's a good golfer. Hanford could play too. So we'll be out there. Go to bigplay.com for all the information for our golf outing, which is just going to be fun. And Little Mountain redone. Looking nice out there with Jimmy and his crew. I love it very much. All right, Pat, now we're proper to get to the morning update. All the stories that you need to know.
Well, yeah, Jimmy, he's got a great course over there. But
yeah, it's great. I love it. I've been all over that course.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've
seen every fairway.
Dude, 10 up that left side there and 10, keep it right. Been there before. Seen all that course.
Yeah.
I love it very much.
Everywhere around it. But we kind of mentioned this a little bit starting off with the update. But last night, the Hall of Fame game, the Bears-Texans, rain shortened. I think, have we seen a Hall of Fame game go normally? I think is my first question.
No, dude, the year that they fried the field, there was the turf monster yesterday on that guy that was trying to kick off the, all that kind of stuff. I do think, and I want to say I appreciate the NFL because it'd be easy for them to be like, oh, we're not going to do this anymore. I think, and, they pay on the crowd. It was not very full, but I'm sure it was well watched. Anybody who's sitting there and I know the Olympics are going on, the guards are playing last night, but you had to watch. Everybody did, especially with our drinking game presented by Garage Beer. You are playing truthfully. Might have been a little slow getting to work today because we had a Case Keenum touchdown. That was 6 sips there, Pat.
How about that?
6 sips. The Hall of Fame game was a lot of fun, and I just appreciate that they keep it here in town. I don't know if this was your next story. Everybody's watching what? The new kickoff rule.
Exactly. Yeah, so they started off brand new right out of the gate. The new kickoff rule. It's kind of been panned a little bit. Some like it, some don't. But what's your overall thoughts on that, Matt?
It's like seeing in person, because we all saw it with the XFL, and now to see the implementation of it. Do you want to know the weirdest thing for me is the kickers kicking in that box? Because you saw, I don't remember who the kicker was, but he was half-assing it because he goes, I can't kick it in the end zone because they take it at the 30 now. That little intrigue of it, same thing. And we talked to Bubba Ventrone about that last year, and he goes, I hate it. I really don't like it. And listen, they need to change the game for safety. I think it's safety, but I'll tell you this, I saw some more electric returns. And if that means having to change it where it's a little weird at the start, but I actually get kickoff returns, I'll take that trade every day of the week, man. I really will. I don't want to see them just, blasting it through the end zone. All right, just take it here and go. Anything that can keep the kickoff alive, and go talk to Josh Cribbs about that. Why should he's damn well better be a Hall of Famer? Why? Because of elements like that. And if it's a little safer, great. I think it adds a little intrigue. I'm for it. I thought it was good just on the first little taste of it, little sample there of it. I thought it was pretty all right.
Yeah. If we can see, is it Reed for the Chiefs kickoff? He's a cornerback. He kicks off as well. So if we can get Harrison Butker off my television, that'd be great. But that's the main thing. Talking with, we were seeing Devin Hester down in Canton as well.
Yeah,
talking with
Andre
Josh
Johnson.
Cribbs.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of absolute legends down there in terms of the new kickoffs. I'd be really fascinated to see what Devin says about it. I know Josh is kind of didn't really care too much because he wants to see it more in practice in the regular season.
But it's I think, wouldn't Josh just have excelled at that? Because the one thing about Josh, and we all watched him here, and he was so good, and I could talk to him about hours about this. he was elusive. He wasn't the fastest.
Correct.
But his build, Josh is a big dude. He just was elusive, and he knew where to go, and he would bounce off tackles. That's where I think under these new rules where he just could pick his hole and go, like, I thought it would have been great for, again, it's past his time and all that kind of stuff, but that's that next wave of returners, which I think is great. So again, short little sample size of it. I liked it very much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of an end of an arc. But our next story is Mike Trout, another devastating knee injury. Where does he rank with Albert Bell in terms of greatest players to have never achieved their absolute ceiling?
Well,
this is just another devastating injury.
It's funny. We'll get to a guy for a birthday today. I'll split Grady Sizemore.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Way up there.
That's somebody had a tweet. Might have been Ben Axelrod. Shout out to Awful Announcing and Ben.
He does a great job.
I love Ben. He's great. We got to have him on again. Yeah. I should have, because he's going. I'll tell you what, we'll get him on next week. Ben's great. He goes, Mike Trout's going to be this generation's Ken Griffey Jr., where he is just an amazing player on some really ass teams. And I don't think, another article I read this morning on CBS Sports about it was like, they don't regret that $426 million deal they gave him. I go, of course they didn't. He's the best, arguably this generation's best player. It's not the injuries. It's the fact that he's wasting his time playing for the LA Angels. And I'm not one to try to let the rich be richer and send him to the Yankees or just send him over to the Dodgers. Pat, I will take that on and just go get him out of there. Anthony Rendon just sucking $200 million away. They had to get rid of Ohtani. It's not so much the injury. And this is seriously it. It's not the injury that bothers you with Mike Trout. It's the fact that he's playing in a useless, it's not city, it's LA. He's playing for a useless team. The LAs are a waste. The LA Angels are a waste. You talk about this restructure. I know the A's are going to Vegas. They want a team in Nashville. Move the Angels. And I never thought I would have said that, because here I am like, there's too many teams in Florida. There's definitely too many football teams in Florida. But I think one baseball team could probably make it in Florida, right? All these other teams, like, whatever, fine. I never would have thought I would have said the LA Angels are a waste of a team, because all they've done is wasted Mike Trout. And the injury aside, what really bothers you about the injury is that he's just wasted his career there with the Angels. So it sucks for him. We'll see. I'm not saying that Rob Manfred could get involved in this, but man, would I be pushing some buttons, man. When I be going to him and just going, somebody get him out. It'd be better for the league. A healthy Mike Trout is the best player of this generation.
It's terrific for baseball.
No, get him somewhere else.
That's the hard part, is like when you have that debate of Bryce Harper versus Mike Trout, I tend to lean the Bryce Harper.
You got to go Harper now. How could you not?
Availability is a skill in baseball. Is rings,
What's Bryce got?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Doesn't he have one?
Yeah, I don't think it's much of a debate at this point.
Wait, Bryce Harper's got a World
with the
Series.
No, he was gone from the
He was gone from them, right?
But even
but he's on a team that's one of the favorites and
exactly
has some hard-earned Fontana money on them to go win the whole thing.
Same here, actually.
Yeah. And again, 8-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, and NLCS. Oh, he went to a World Series.
Right.
But they just didn't win.
Didn't win it.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is hilarious that the Nationals won in 2019 without Harper. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Right, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I wish that Mike Trout could get the hell out of there.
Of course.
We'll see how it goes.
Of course. Yeah, so our next topic is talking about Olympics down in Paris. I don't know if you've been watching anything, but
I have.
Want to put this on your radar over on our wall down the hallway here. Katie Najat, Katie Moon now.
Yes.
She'll be competing on Monday. Got to see with the qualifying rounds as well, but the final would be on Monday.
Nice.
I know that there's a watch party over in Olmsted Falls. I don't know.
Yeah.
You big into women's pole vault? She had an event over here in Olmsted Falls.
How many of these sports do you watch? And I think everybody sees the meme of like you sitting there with chips on your shirt and you go, oh, you suck, man.
Yeah.
Like, what? You couldn't land that? What are you doing over there? It's incredible to watch Simone Biles, which is just absolutely phenomenal, man. Did you see that thing where I know it's on the floor that they jump on? She could jump over Shaq. Like, that's how high she was going, that her feet would be above Shaq's head. She was the height of Victor Wembanyama in the air. She's 4'8". That's insane to me. But it's, do I know anything about slalom canoeing? No. Am I going to watch it? Hell yeah. Like, let's go. I mean, it's funny. The air pistol thing. You've been reading that story about that guy that got silver in the air pistol?
How about that?
that he like said something to his ex. Is that true that he said something to his ex-wife or something?
Oh man, I have no idea about that. But
so like there was, I don't know if this is true or not. I probably should have done more research on it. That there's this guy and he just stands there with the air pistol and he's like he's not professionally trained.
Right.
I guess
no ear protection either.
No, yeah. He just sits there and he does it. And apparently he just picked it up as a guy that got divorced and now he's in the Olympics. And I don't know if this is true, that he said something about his wife giving him his dog back or something. I don't know. That could be completely false and I could have been had. I don't care. It's a Friday. Let me live. But you watch it and it's a lot of fun. But then when you add in like, yeah, dude, Team USA is killing it right now on the men's and women's basketball side. Simone Biles, untouched. Suni Lee with another medal for her. And then you get the hometown flair with Katie Nagatomoon. She goes for it. It's going to be awesome. And the track and field, Sha'Carri Richardson smoked them in that qualifying one or the first heat or whatever. It's just fun. And I love it because the time shift, like in the morning, just turn it on. Something's on to watch. Badminton. I watched table tennis the other night. The wrestling's getting started, though. Is that degenerate if I bet on Olympic wrestling? That's my thing, man. That's my favorite. Of all the sports I'm going to watch, that's the one to watch for me. Kyle Snyder, Kyle Dake, Aaron Brooks, man. Whew, he's so fucking good. You want a free little bet here?
I love it. Free money, free game.
Free game, right? Shout out to Bet365. I love you very much.
Real quick, let me tighten this up on Katie Moon.
Yeah, please. Thank
her
you.
qualifying round is Monday morning at the bright and early time of 4:40 a.m. And then hoping that she makes it to the final, which she, in all likelihood, will. 1 p.m. on Wednesday, August 7th.
What am I doing here? Why? Pole vault, Katie. Where's she at? I'm putting damn good money on her. Come on now.
Need it.
Wait a minute. That's the men. Where's the women? Tracking? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the men Olympics. Down here. Pole vault. Dude, she's plus 550.
Katie is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nina
easy.
Kennedy's plus 100. Molly Caudry's plus 175. Let's go, Katie! I'm in.
The Pride of Olmsted Falls.
Hell
Need
yeah. I put $15 on her. Let's go.
Yeah.
15 wins me 100.
I like it.
Come on now, Katie. Let's go. This other chick seems like she's a big favorite, though.
Yeah.
Can't deny that, though. I was going to get you the wrestling.
Absolutely.
This is degenerate. This is pretty degenerate here. Weightlifting, wrestling.
Nah, it's not degenerate unless it's table tennis or badminton.
Freestyle. Aaron Brooks is second at plus 162. Now, there's a guy he's a killer, man. He's really good. I think Brooks gets him, though. Then I want to go Kyle Snyder second at plus 150. I'm going to put money on Kyle Snyder. He's a Buckeye. He's an Ohio State guy. So there it is. Just betting on degenerate Olympics there. Come on, Katie. Let's get it done Monday.
Let's get it done, Katie.
It'll be awesome.
And last one for you is, we talked about it a little bit, but WWE with a double feature this weekend here. I know you're excited, but for people uninitiated like myself, can you explain what the difference is between Friday's event, Saturday's event, the kind of importance of those things coming to this city?
So I am a novice. I've not watched wrestling in a long time, but basically, you know how they do SmackDown and Raw?
Yes.
So tonight is just Raw. They moved Raw to Fridays. Dude, when I was a kid, it was on Tuesdays, I think.
Tuesdays.
And I think SmackDown was on Thursdays. I don't know. So tonight is Raw. So this is one that it'll just be on USA. Everybody will watch. That's the one that every week just goes city to city. Now, the important thing would be, and again, I should have Ben on to talk to him about it, there's going to be storylines that they set up for tomorrow night. Now, SummerSlam is a pay-per-view. That's when they all come together. The beefs from SmackDown, the beefs from Raw, they all show up. This is pay-per-view. They do one every month. And it's not like WrestleMania, but SummerSlam's usually pretty big. So all the beefs will all come together. The coolest thing is the great, I'm going to say the greatest collection of wrestlers, but all the best, like Seth Rollins, here, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, they're all going to be here tonight and tomorrow for the event. So you're going to watch a lot tonight because that's going to help set up what's going on tomorrow. I say this, and I hope this so much for everybody. I hope the rain holds off. I haven't checked I have a tea time tomorrow morning. So I think it's supposed to, because it's like the give and take. Like, I don't want it to rain on my tea time, but I also want everybody to enjoy their night at SummerSlam.
Saturday looks clear.
Good. Did it move out?
Well, it says 65% chance today, but nothing tomorrow so far.
Not ripping meteorologist, Pat, but do they really know the whole night?
If it could be staying overnight rain too, that'd be ideal.
Yeah, an overnight rain's fine.
Yeah.
Soften those greens up for me out there.
Oh, perfect.
That'd
Get
be
some
nice.
spin on there.
I'm like it. I'm all for it. But yeah, I hope it goes well tomorrow. But yeah, tonight Raw, a lot of people are already here for it. And it's got to be, dude. And again, I'm not a wrestling fan, but I appreciate people that are. I got to say, Pat, find your nerdism in life. Whatever you nerd out about, find it and do it. Rock the hell out of it. How cool would that be for a lot of people I'm sure traveled in? They get to go to Raw tonight, get to go to SummerSlam tomorrow. There's a lot of people in Cleveland that got those tickets as well. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend with it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And you know, funny enough, I was listening to the ESPN Daily, but Jeff Passan will be in town for it. So look out for Jeff downtown.
Oh, is he a big wrestling guy?
Yeah,
All
yes,
right.
him and his
Cleveland's
son,
own. Yeah, Cleveland's own. I like it very much.
Last thing, are we ready for redemption on the Immaculate
Yeah,
Grill?
let's do the
Coming
Immaculate
up next
Grill.
on the
Let's
Matt
get to it.
Fontana
All right,
show.
let's go.
Right now,
Immaculate
you want to
Grill.
roll right into it?
Yeah, let's get right into it.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to
So
it.
there's the Matt Fontana Twitter.
Drop us a
Immaculate
follow. We're
Grill.
close to 1,000 right
we
there.
go.
All right,
All right.
scroll me on up a little bit.
What do we
There we
got?
go. All right, do we have hit another one of those? There's music that usually Ryan
yeah,
does
here
with
we
it. It gets me in the mood. Not that.
Squeaky wheel.
Try
right.
another one. This one. This
There
is
we
it.
go.
This
I
is
like it.
Immaculate
I
Grill.
like
All
it.
right, now we're
I'm
into
learning
it.
these sticky.
They're a little sticky over
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
aren't they? Yeah, a
exactly,
little
right?
bit. I don't know. I don't ask what Ryan does over there. He just
The
shows up.
hotkeys. That's what they call it.
Yeah, the hotkeys. All right.
All right.
All right. We'll let the music roll. It gets me in the mood. Gets me
right.
going. You just have to hit it again when it runs out, too, by the way. All right, you know how it works. Player for each Hall of Fame, which is very fitting for this week. Pat, usually pretty good. Didn't we ace it the last time you were on with us?
Oh, we missed it by one.
That's
Teddy
all right. We'll get it
Bridgewater.
today. 9 minutes. Go. Jets, Hall of Fame. I usually just start with the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
All right.
Joe
Jets.
Namath, Broadway Joe.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
This screwed us up last time.
Mm-hmm.
Because is Doug Williams in the Hall of Fame?
Right. If he's not, he should be.
He should be. I know he's in the College Football Hall of Fame. And I want to
coaches
go
count?
back to somebody off the Hogs. Remember the Hogs?
Right.
Like they
I was thinking head coach Gibbs, but I don't think it's got to be players. Right?
I think it's got to be
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be players. And they've had nobody. Okay, so here's the thing. It can be somebody that just played there. They didn't have to spend their whole career there. Is there anybody that just kind of walked through there for a
London
second?
Fletcher, maybe. Vaguely.
Ah,
I think London Fletcher might be
yeah. I
the
like
pride of
that.
John
Good
Carroll
pull.
University.
Yes. Actually, I think, didn't he play the majority of his career with
I think
Washington?
he did. I think he did.
And he made the Hall of Fame.
Oh man.
Did he make the Hall of
Here we
Fame?
go.
Go. Oh, I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame.
I'll tell you what. Tough.
Tough.
Stuff.
All right, Eagles.
Eagles Hall of Famer. Randall Cunningham.
Yeah, is Randall Cunningham in the Hall of Fame? He's got to be. Sal, you're a little different because you just rip it. You don't even care. You're like, all right, let's just go with that. Randall Cunningham is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Jeez.
So I almost wanted to say Ron Jaworski,
Jaws.
but I
don't know if he's
I don't
in
think
either.
he made the Hall of Fame either.
Right.
There's got to be somebody. Terrell Owens. Just go T.O.
T.O.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. There
There we go.
Bang.
All right. All right. Leave the Washington one open for now. Let's
Yeah.
see what else we can get. All right. Yeah, I was going right to Jets Saints. Is there not?
Jet Saints. Yep.
What's?
Let's see here.
God, there's. I feel like there's something that should just be like a
I feel like
instant.
most of the receivers.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But, yeah, dude, why is there? That's. Oh my God. Maybe not. All right. We can open things up. Anything that comes to mind here.
Saints.
Eagles, Steelers. Eagles, Saints.
Steelers.
All right, let's do this. Saints, like Andy Dalton, nothing through. Derek Carr doesn't work for any of those other ones. Mitchell Trubisky didn't play at any of those others. But Kenny Pickett would work for Philly, but he hasn't played a game
Hasn't
yet.
Played right.
So save that.
Yep.
Where
Where did Le'Veon Bell go?
did he not? Oh no. Well, that's a great one. Yeah. Steelers Jets. Steelers Jets. Remember, he held out with the Steelers, then he
Right,
left and went to
there
the
it was,
Jets.
yeah.
But didn't Le'Veon Bell also get to Philly somehow? I like where
That's
we
what I
put
was
him. That's
thinking,
fine. I
too.
thought he went to Philly for a
Yeah.
second too. Shady McCoy never played for the Saints. I know he didn't play for the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Cooks.
Do Staley down here?
Yeah, I
Saints
like that. That's a good pull.
Staley.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I could have sworn he played for both.
I thought he played for the Eagles too. Marcus Colston?
Receiver.
No. Jimmy Graham to any of those other spots? I don't think so. No.
Played everywhere.
I know, right? I know. Okay. Washington always screws us up, man. They're always so hard for us. Vernon Davis, I don't think ever went to the Saints or the Steelers.
Who's that? Was it there's a deep threat receiver like Randall L type?
Mike Williams?
Mike Williams. Santana Moss, like that type, where just deep.
Santonio Holmes. But you want to know what? Santonio Holmes would have worked Steelers Jets too.
Steelers Jets.
Yeah, he would have worked Steelers Jets too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have worked there. I mean, again, I think Bell went to the. I mean, it is what it is. That's fine. We put it in there. Yeah, man.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. I'm shocked we don't have more quarterbacks that we're able to think of to rip through here. Like Washington, Jacoby Brissett didn't go to either one of those spots. RG3, I don't think ever did.
No.
Mark Sanchez never went to the Saints, I don't think. He went to the Eagles, though, but we don't need him down there.
Right.
Breeze was just there forever. Kickers, Billy Cundiff.
Right.
Probably would work for one of these somewhere. All right, we kind of need to focus in on one here. Let's focus Steelers-Eagles. Steelers-Eagles. D'Angelo Williams, not the bus. Certainly not like Palomalu, James Harrison.
Man.
All those guys that kind of run through. I don't know. I mean, we are kind of late in the show, so we do have to get to time hop and a bunch of other stuff. So it's like, if we don't get it today, then so be it.
Man.
I'd like to get one more, though.
Yeah.
I'd like to try to get one more. And I'm sure there's one that's screaming at us. I don't know why the Jets and the Saints, something is like slapping me in the face, like that we're missing the Jets and the Saints really bad. But I can't put my finger on it.
Oh, man.
I can't put my finger on it. Braylon Edwards went to the Jets, but I don't think he ever went anywhere else.
Right.
Try to rip through like former Browns players. Ryan Ramczyk is still down there with the Saints, or I think retired, or got hurt, or he's done for the year. Oh, man.
Struggling today.
Struggling. All right, chalk it up.
Chalk it up.
Yeah, give up.
I might put Doug Williams in here just to see.
Yeah, just to see.
Dougie.
Yeah, I see. I might have to scroll a little while for that. I don't know. Yeah, I can just Google it for you.
Yeah.
He's in the college, like I said, he's in the College Football Hall of Fame, but he didn't make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Hit time up?
Hit give up for me and then scroll down so we can see the answers. So scroll down. Tell me the most. Keep going. All right there. Who are the most pop? Oh, Adrian Peterson played for the Saints.
Yeah, Darren Sproles would have been a good one.
Oh, that's a good one with Darren
Mike
Sproles.
Vick. Wow. Riggins and Reggie White.
That's. Wait,
Randall L was on there. How about that?
Antoine Randall L. Yeah.
Dang.
Darren Sproles. Reggie White's another. Yeah, that's a good Hall of Famer on that one. Didn't think about that. Riggins, I should have known that.
Man.
Damn. Yeah. Jonathan Vilma's a good pull there, too.
TV personality
my God,
now, right?
Demario Davis would have worked there.
Really?
I think that's who. Yes. Right?
That's tough.
Am I not right?
Demario Davis.
Right? He got drafted by the Jets, came to the Browns, back to the Jets, back to the Saints. That is exactly who was slapping me in the face. I knew it.
That's tough.
Damn. That's all right. Hit time hop. Let's run through it here. Twitter inbox, mad Demario Davis. Yep, I got it. Idiot. Absolute idiot on my part. All right, let's run through time up here as we're into the month of August 2nd. Let's see what we got. We had back 2 years ago today a report that Roger Goodell could appeal the ruling. Because remember the Deshaun Watson thing, how they had that independent people and they were going to hand the suspension out? A report came out. If Roger Goodell didn't like it, he could actually appeal it and impose a bigger suspension, which I don't. Did he actually? I think the 11 games is what they gamed to, wasn't it? I can't remember. Doesn't that seem crazy? It was just 2 years ago. Seems so much longer ago. But they had the court rulings. They had the other people that were involved. But it was a report this day, 2022, that Goodell could come over top of all of them and impose a bigger suspension. This day, 2014, Jim Thome signed a one-day contract to retire with the Indians, and they unveiled his statue out there at Heritage Park outside. You know, Thome's got the conflicted thing where he left and people hated him and all that kind of stuff. He's one of the best. He's all-time home runner. You got to keep him in that. I don't know what else to tell you, so it is what it is. This day, 2012, and I remember this announcement. It was a big one. The announcement that the Haslams had agreed to buy the Cleveland Browns. And, 12 years ago today. And I look at it from this standpoint, too, that early on, they made mistakes. And the NFL tried to help them, and they tried to hook him up with Joe Banner, and he was just stealing money. Holmgren stole money, all that. They learn from those mistakes and appreciate them for learning, but also cutting a lot of checks to cover a lot of the mistakes that they had made. We have come through it. We have a good team. We've got good ownership. We've got good players, coaches, GMs, all of that. It took time. It sucked, but at least we're not owned by Randy Lerner anymore. At least, I guess Holmgren wasn't stealing from the Haslams. He was stealing from Randy Lerner, but still. The Randy Lerner era was atrocious. He didn't want to own the team. There was all the reports, and it synced up actually really eerily perfectly that he allegedly told his dad when he passed away that I'll own the team for at least 10 years. That's what he said. It was 10, almost on the dot or something like that. He sold the team. Appreciate the Haslams for being here. This day, 2005, we said goodbye to Gund Arena. This day, 2005, Dan Gilbert announced he was changing the name of Gund Arena to Quicken Loans Arena. Obviously, the Gund is always famous here in Cleveland. I didn't mind Quicken Loans Arena. The Q, I don't like Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, man. I don't like it.
I still call it the Q.
Most people do. They say I still call it the Jake and all that kind of stuff, but they changed the name. This day, 2005. This day, 1996, Team USA wins the gold in basketball. They beat Yugoslavia 95-69 in the gold medal game of the Atlanta Olympics. They were named the Dream Team 3. Want to go back, take a look at that team? Hang on, I want to pull that roster up here. 1996 men's Olympic basketball team. Okay, if I could spell. All right, the 1996 team that won gold this day. Charles Barkley, Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, David Robinson, Scottie Pippen, Mitch Richmond, Reggie Miller, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Shaq, Gary Payton, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Lenny Wilkins was the head coach. They beat, this was their results. Argentina, 96-68. Beat Angola, 87-54. Lithuania, 104-82. Beat China by 63 points. Croatia by 33. Beat Brazil 98-75 in the quarters. Beat Australia 101-73 in the semis. And beat Yugoslavia 95-69 in the gold medal game. A perfect 8-0 this day, 1996. This day, 1979, a very sad one that happened right here in Northeast Ohio. Thurman Munson passed away. And I don't know if people know the story of Thurman Munson. So he was born in Ohio. He was born in Greene, Ohio. And he became the captain and the catcher of the New York Yankees. He was extremely homesick. And he was teaching himself how to fly so he could come back from New York on off days. And there was a lot of push back then, Pat, that he would come back and join the Indians, be his hometown team. And again, it's Thurman Munson. And he unfortunately was practicing takeoffs and landings, and something happened. The plane crashed, and he passed away this day, 1979. This day, 1776, the delegates of Congress signed the Declaration of Independence. It was John Hancock, this giant right up there in the front. Balls on those guys, man.
You got to respect it.
You got to respect it. Take that, Britain. A very happy birthday goes out to Tim Wakefield. Mentioned Grady Sizemore earlier. It's his birthday today. Golden Tate, Laramie Tunsil, Kristaps Porzingis, Tristan McKenzie, Peter O'Toole, Charlie XCX. Do you know who that is? I know one song from her.
XCX is. Are you having a brat summer, Matt?
Is that what that?
Do you know what that means?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's just,
I know the I Love It song.
Yeah?
I love it. We played at our wedding. It's a great song.
There you go. I love that.
And the great director, Mr. Kevin Smith. Today's International Beer Day. Yeah. Drink some garage beer. International Beer Day. I'm not drinking this one. It's very warm in here. But shout out to you guys. We love you guys at Garage Beer.
I'll tell you what, my girlfriend made this joke yesterday that yesterday was National Girlfriend Day and now today is National Beer Day.
There's a great point on that,
So take
Pat.
that for what you will.
Yeah, smart lady over there. All right, we got 3 movies for you today to see how you do. You ready to go? We start this day, 2002. An alien psychological thriller, if you will. Any idea? Just started with that?
Alien versus Predator, that's all I got, really.
No. An ensemble cast. I don't want to give you if I give you the actor, it'll probably give it away. It surrounds a farming family and how they have to fend off some alien intruders.
Tremors?
Oh my God, I love Tremors.
Man, still not right,
Did
though.
you really just say Tremors? I love Tremors. Tremors is one of my favorite movies. I'm so glad you said that. No, Tremors was like 1990, so we're a little early on that. Hell yeah. I didn't know you knew Tremors.
I don't really.
You just know of it? Well, at least there's that. All right, we'll put it this way. A former priest lives on a rural farm in Pennsylvania with his asthmatic preteen son and young daughter. His other brother is living with them after being a failed minor league baseball player. That's a big part of the end of the film.
Couldn't tell you.
Really?
Bull Durham?
No, Alien. You're getting off on the baseball.
I know, the baseball part. No.
Alien.
Yeah, I don't know.
Signs. Remember when he tells Joaquin Phoenix, his brother, goes, just swing away, and he takes the bat, and he's just bashing the aliens?
That's a good
Didn't
line.
they find out that they don't like water? Here it is. Meryl gradually weakens the alien by smashing several water glasses, eventually killing it, and smashes the creature in the head with a baseball bat. And then the son was asthmatic. He didn't actually breathe the toxins in, so he lived. And then they find out that the alien, once the aliens find out that there's water everywhere and they die from it, they leave. Signs. I mean, the creepiest thing is when the shot of like the door and the light is underneath and you see the footsteps walking by. It's all right. Of all the alien movies out there, I think it's just fine. All right, next up. A film this day, 1996. This movie surrounds a young lady with really amazing powers. A child prodigy who develops psychokinetic abilities and used them to deal with their disruptive family and tyrannical principal of her school.
Man, I'm drawing a blank here.
Really? Her dad is a used car salesman. She goes to a school run by Miss Trunchbull. Wow.
Man, disappointed in myself.
I should be. Have you ever heard of Matilda?
Oh, okay.
Matilda. She's, she can move all these things or whatever. She goes to the school. She eventually gets adopted by the nice teacher and all that kind of stuff. Yes, Matilda. This day, 1996. All right, there's no way I think you're going to get this one, but we'll see how it goes. This day, 1985, 2 computer nerds create a woman in their computer, and she takes them on an adventure for a couple of days. Nothing?
No, but you know what it made me think of was The Social Network.
No, not the Social
Mark
Network.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, not that. Not that. Have you ever heard of Weird Science?
Nope.
Kelly LeBrock plays Lisa. So it's basically these 2 nerds. They create a woman from their computer, and then she takes them. She turns their lives around. They get girlfriends out of the whole thing. Weird Science. This day, 1985. So Ryan's done bad before. That wasn't a great effort for me. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Signs, Matilda, and Weird Science for you as we go on. Well, I hope it's not weird tonight for the guards. Let's go. Let's get our wagers in for this evening. Young Pat. Here we go. All right. I would imagine, and I've not looked at the odds for tonight, Baltimore's got to be favored, right?
I would imagine, yeah.
All right. You would have to think they're the better. I don't want to say they're not the better team. They're just a really good team, but we smoked them yesterday. All right, let's get on it here.
Barely favored.
Barely favored. All right.
Yep.
Hang on. Let me get over here.
Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, Guardians, actually, I got to pick them. -110 each.
Oh, you got to pick them.
Yeah,
okay.
I got to pick them between Baltimore and the Guardians for tonight. So as we know, Carlos Carrasco on the hill for us, Kremer on the hill for them. On the season, Kremer is 4-7 with a 4.2 ERA. Carrasco is just 3-9 with a 5.6 ERA. But Kremer, in his last 2 starts, 2 losses, and then a no decision prior to that. He's averaging about 5 innings in his last 3 starts, but he's pitched pretty well. Like his last start, he took a loss, only giving up 1 run over 6 innings. Gave up 3 runs in the start prior. In his last 3 starts, he has 13 strikeouts. For Carlos Carrasco, riding a 3-game losing streak, 3 innings, 5 and 5, giving him 6, 6, and 1 earned runs in his last 3 starts. We need a big bounce back. 13 earned runs, giving up his last 3 starts. But Carrasco has 5, 6, and 3 strikeouts in his last 3 starts out there. He has not started against Baltimore. Actually, I'm sorry. No, because he had a start against Baltimore back in June. He went 5 innings, only gave up 2 runs and 3 strikeouts and a no decision. Kremer has not faced the Guardians this season.
One of the things I'll say about Carrasco, too, is we've noticed in the past couple of starts is he gets roughed up in the first inning or 2, but then really settles in. So if you're interested in live betting,
you like the Nerfy winning in the run in the first inning.
I think a run in the first for sure.
All right, over
but
his
then
hit.
Maybe even alt strikeouts.
Yeah, but what, 3?
It's tough.
It's a low one there. Let me see what I can get you on 3. 3 strikeouts is 394 is minus 150. So if I think he can get to 4, maybe a tough
I don't
ask.
feel great about it.
You don't like 4?
I don't feel great
All right,
about
stay
it.
away from that. Here, I'll give you these trends. Over has hit Baltimore's 10 out of their last 11 games. They are 4-2 in their last 6, but they're only 3-6 in their last 9 against Cleveland. The over has hit 8 out of their last 9 games on the road, but the under has hit 6 out of the last 8 games when they're here in Cleveland. For the Guards, under 12 out of their last 16 games. They're 5-1 straight up in their last 6, and the under has hit 10 out of their last 15 games against Baltimore. The under is 9 again tonight.
What was it, 10-2 yesterday? I think
10-3 yesterday. Yeah. Before that, here's Baltimore. You ready for this? Lost 10-3 yesterday, but before that, they put up 10 runs, 6 and 4 and 11 in their 4-game stretch against Toronto. Before that, 6. Dude, let me do this for you. In their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, they've scored at least 3 runs in all those games, with 4 or more in 8 out of those 10 games. What if I hate betting against the Guards, so I don't want to do that.
But doesn't it feel like an O's win today?
I feel like they got to come back for us here a little bit.
Jackson Holiday back up there for the Orioles now, too. Did you see that grand slam he hit?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
What if we did this? You think Quan comes back around today?
I could see it.
All right, let's go. Quan hit. Adley Rutschman hit. Carrasco, 3 strikeouts gets me to plus 120. And then if I just take an over 7.5 gets me to 210.
7.5 feels easy.
Yeah. I'd like to add one more line here, though. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What about Kremer strikeouts to get 3?
3 strike? I mean, I don't know anything.
That gets me to plus 300. Again, in his last 3 starts, Kremer's had 3, 3, and 2, so that's not great. But he's only gone 3, 4. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's his last starts against Cleveland. I take that back. No, I'm sorry. He's had 5, 6, and 3 strikeouts in his last 3 outings. I'm going to take Kremer plus 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The bottom half of our lineup, too, have been swinging a tennis racket lately. So it's been all whiffs. But I don't mind that.
I'll boost it.
3 strikeouts, not too bad.
And I'll put 15 on it. You like it?
I like it.
Done. And here we go for the Guards tonight. Get after it tonight, Guards. Again, I'm so happy that they had that win yesterday. I think it does loosen things up. I'm going to stay away from the line because, I'm kind of with you. I think maybe the Orioles kind of bounce back on this one just a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. All right, final thing, Pat. We had our question up a little bit earlier. We asked everybody, are you nervous about this whole stadium situation with the Cleveland Browns? What do we got?
Got our results. Get a quick refresh, but at least early doors, 44 votes,
all right.
72.7% no.
I like it. And then the final thing, I don't know, Ryan sent this out. The finals of our bracket of the best wing flavor.
Best wing flavor. Okay.
What would your vote be?
Oh man, I'm just a classic sweet barbecue guy.
All right. That made the semifinals, I think.
A lot of plain people like me, I'll tell you that.
I know, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Little sweet barbecue. You know what's got really good sweet barbecue wing sauce? Applebee's.
Really?
Go get their boneless. I will put Applebee's boneless wings up against anybody's.
I'll tell you what, real
I
quick.
think they are tasty.
Talking about places you would bring people to Cleveland, Buckeye Beer Engine in Lakewood. I know you're over that way. Those boneless wings, dude. Oh my goodness, absolute best in the city. And I know Scene Magazine voted that too, but they're best in the city.
You don't know the time and money my wife spent at Buckeye Beer Engine prior to our kids. Prior to the pandemic. You know what they used to have before the pandemic? Brunch Bloody Mary bar. So all you do is they would just pour your vodka in your glass. You'd go right up to, they had 4 mixes. They had Old Bay seasoning, which I will go any place on God's green earth that has Old Bay seasoning for a brunch Bloody Mary bar. I love Buckeye Beer Engine, man.
Phenomenal stuff.
Love it, man. I haven't been there in forever.
Great beer selection, too.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing, too. I loved going there. They always had good beer selection with everything, so it was awesome. So, yeah, I now really want some wings. All right, I appreciate everybody joining us today. Pat, thank you for coming in.
Of course.
Enjoy the hell out of the weekend. If you're going to SummerSlam, Raw, whatever it might be, enjoy the weekend. Don't forget about our golf outing. Limited spots available. Go to bigplay.com. You'll see the link right there to our event page. You'll be off to the races to join us on August 31st for our golf outing with our friends at Garage Beer. Enjoy the hell out of the weekend. Get it, guards! Talk to you on Monday. For Pat McGuire, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.